From two of the biggest names in Hollywood now owning Alpine to the Deadpool actor becoming the new face of the company, here's why an F1 icon is blasting Ryan Reynolds' deal. After investing boatloads of money in soccer, Hollywood stars Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have decided to enter Formula One. It's surprising to see what team these two have invested in. The French-owned Alpine? Yep, Alpine secured a $218 million funding from a group of investors. That also includes the two actors. According to Renault, the group has acquired a 24% stake in the team. This group includes Autro Capital, Redbird Capital Partners, and Maximum Effort Investments, owned by Ryan Reynolds himself. If you do the math, this transaction now values Alpine Racing Limited at $900 million. Man, this is really going to help the French outfit's growth in F1. You got to remember, Alpine was already a solid team. I mean, come on. The team's got its own power unit department, plus they do really well in the midfield. Like, yeah, I'll admit, they've never cracked the top three, and have actually fallen a place below where they were in 2022. All thanks to Aston Martin's surprising takeover. But you gotta admit, of the rest of the grid, Alpine's the most reliable team there is. With this $1 million investment, who knows? The team might find itself in the top three soon. Who could have ever predicted that people would be betting on the failing Racing Point team to crack into the top three one day? I know it's too early to make any predictions for the 2023 season, but you get the point. Alpine was a solid team to invest in. If it wasn't, you wouldn't have folks like Michael B. Jordan buying in on the investment too. Despite what many people think, Reynolds and McElhenney know what they're doing. It's not their first rodeo. These two business-savvy actors took over Wrexham, a Welsh soccer team, in November 2020 for $2.5 million only. The club immediately became famous and secured a nice little promotion to the fourth tier of English soccer. Alpine's been struggling to close the gap between itself and Red Bull, Ferrari, or Mercedes, but now Renault claims these new investors will help them achieve just that. Because, according to the company, these guys have expertise all over the sports industry, considering they've worked with Dallas Cowboys, Fenway Sports Group, the NFL, French soccer club Toulouse, and Wrexham. Now, I wouldn't be any good at my job if I didn't let you in on a secret, though. The car company Alpine is actually not part of the transaction. They'll remain entirely under Renault, and it's just the F1 team the group of investors bought into. With that out of the way, let's talk about another shocking twist. F1 icon Eddie Jordan thinks this deal is insane. The owner of the now-defunct Jordan Grand Prix team has his doubts about the deal. He thinks that this entire thing is nothing but a publicity stunt. On top of that, Eddie thinks that the team is being valued way too highly. Is he really that wrong, though? Because think about it. Alpine's now the third richest F1 team, behind Ferrari and Mercedes. Are you telling me that this team's worth more than Aston Martin and Red Bull? See, that's exactly why he's labeled this increase in value as nothing but a sham. Here's what he said. I won't use the word fake news, but I mean, there's absolutely no way from an accounting point of view the financial model stacks up. I find that in itself kind of strange to value something of that level at a gross value of $900 million. It's preposterous. It's ridiculous. He also added that it's all very nice and sexy to talk about these figures and valuations, but there needs to be a way to support these numbers. Yep, the guy's looking to audit the darn team. Not just that, Eddie also asked about Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull's valuation compared to Alpine. He believes that the $900 million figure is what these top three teams should be worth, and Alpine isn't even close to those three teams, so there's no way in hell it should be worth this much. The guy also questioned the investors' intentions. Eddie's got an issue with the fact that everyone's out there thinking Reynolds and McElhenney's fame would have an impact on the team's on-track performance. The guy says that these two hugely big stars are probably there because the sport's getting famous in America, and Renault has been trying to get into that market. 'Cause let's be real, teams are always looking for sponsorships from the world's strongest economy. On top of that, Eddie believes that the two stars aren't even using their own money. He believes that the real people behind this investment are in the States, and that they're just using these guys as the face of the group to get the team some clout. He also believes that while F1 is going through the roof these days, it's nothing compared to soccer, because there are just 10 franchises in the entire sport. whereas there are countless soccer franchises around the world. That's why Eddie doesn't believe in the value of an investment in a niche market like F1. For what it's worth, though, folks, Renault, Alpine, and Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of the Formula One group, are happy with how things are going. Domenicali said that teams have been offered billions of dollars to buy them out. In the 2020 Concord Agreement, the team value was put at $200 million, but back then, it honestly seemed achievable. Because let's not forget, there was a time when teams would be sold for $1, because team owners wanted to keep their teams running. Now the market's been offering billions of dollars to teams, and they're just outright refusing it. And yeah, things haven't been the same since Drive to Survive. Netflix's docuseries on the sport turned the dying sport into a sensation. Since the first season aired, the sport's been getting more and more popular. I mean, Brad Pitt is doing a movie on Formula One, and it's being directed by the same bloke who directed Top Gun: Maverick. Let's also not forget just how many celebrities we see during race weekends, especially the more popular ones, such as Miami and Monaco. The point is, F1's turning into a spectacle, so not only does this investment make sense, but it opens the door for even more American cash in the sport. Alpine did the smart thing by getting in on it before everyone else. Even the team principal, Otmar Szafnauer, admits that this investment's going to help the team climb the ladder. The guy says that this will allow the team to finally compete with the big boys. He also says that the reason for this investment is the fact that the team needs some infrastructure. The investors will now give his team the funding and the tools that they need to fight with bigger teams. Now, the new shareholders are good at increasing revenue and cutting costs, so that's a major plus for Alpine. Still, they can't help much on the technical side. But don't worry about it. They'll be giving a lot of commercial input, but they won't interfere with the technical side of things. Otmar also says that his team will continue doing what it's been doing with better tools now. But wait, Renault is one of the largest car makers in the world. Why would a team owned by a company like that even need an investment? Look, the point of this investment isn't just to get heaps and heaps of cash. These guys will also use their star power to help Alpine increase its revenue overall. Otmar says that these guys have been investing in sports forever. It's what they do, and we should trust them. But as far as the money itself is concerned, it's going to help the team where it's lacking the most. So the team's driver in-loop simulator is just 15 years old and needs to be replaced. At the same time, they don't have brake dynos while the other teams do. Alpine also doesn't have the kind of suspension rigs that other teams do. And yeah, the money sure does help, but you want to know the best part? Formula One fans will get to see Ryan Reynolds on the grid. According to Otmar, Reynolds will be in the Alpine garage at Silverstone, which just might be the coolest thing ever. And there you have it, folks. From fans excited as heck to see Reynolds in the garage to Alpine being sold to Hollywood, that was why an F1 icon is blasting Ryan Reynolds' deal.